How we doing, everybody? Welcome to Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Welcome to tonight's show, and it's a good one tonight. The biggest win of the year coming into the night. 4-12 in one-run games, 0-16 when trailing after the sixth inning. Lots of negativity lately. 4 straight losses coming in. I've been seeing people today saying, you got to fire Alex Cora. Brandon Hyde, unfortunately, got fired from the Baltimore Orioles today. You needed something here. You needed a bit of a boost. You needed a bit of a jolt. And Rafael Devers, he gave it to you tonight. Walk-off home run for him tonight. The first of his career. This was a great win. Was it a clean win? No, it was not. But they showed a lot of good character tonight. You fell behind early. Giolito with the rough day. We'll get into that. But they battled back. They played good defense along the way. The bullpen held strong. They did what they needed to do to come back into this game. And this is one of those wins where could you look back on this, a few months from now and say, that was the win that got the Red Sox on track. It's a character-building win. It's an identity kind of building win. It's, no, I'm not going to sit here and say it was, like the A-Rod Veritek brawl game where Bill Miller hit the walk-off home run, and it felt like after that the Red Sox completely turned their season around. No, I'm not going to go to that point. But you look back and you think, okay, you know what? That was the one that gave us a bit of a spark. We'll see what ends up happening, but you needed something like that. You needed to feel good about something. And, it's not just the walk-off. It was how they got there is what I liked about it. Obviously, I love the walk-off. Who doesn't like a good walk-off? But it was how they got there. It was how they built to it. And it was how they just kept it going the entire night. You like seeing that grit from the team. You haven't seen really a whole lot of that this year so far. But before we do get into the rest of the show, we do have a word from tonight's sponsor.
Hey, FT fam. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, Cam, because we're busy and we would like all of the ingredients to cook up something nice and make us look like elite chefs at home.
You know what I do? I've got kids in basketball, I've got soccer, I've got baseball. And when they get home, there's a fresh meal and they think, "Oh, Dad, he's so great." Well, no, it's not me. It's HelloFresh. It's nutritious. It's packed full of good nutrients. The kids have good energy, and they look at me like I'm the greatest dad in the world. So make sure you go grab that HelloFresh because you know what? It's doing my family all the good.
Cook up dishes like chicken Dijon and pecan-crusted trout, over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats as well. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make the season even more delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM now to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by.
All right, let's get to it here, shall we? Let's get to it here. I'm going to start off with the bad, unfortunately. I know we all want to talk about the good news, but let's build to that. Let's see how we got there. Giolito, bad start for him tonight. He just didn't have it. Stuff-wise, he was actually not bad tonight. Spin rates were looking good. For the most part with Giolito, it was the location that was the problem for him. And honestly, I was a little curious about the pitch mix because I noticed he was throwing a lot more fastballs than his last outing. He lowered the slider usage a little bit, but then I dug into the numbers a little bit. Well, the Braves, they haven't been a very good fastball hitting team this year, so that's why I think he was really trying to lean into the fastball, and they've actually hit sliders well, so that's why I think you saw a bit less on the slider compared to his last outing. So I think he tried to go with a different approach, but unfortunately, the location, he just didn't have it tonight. He was hanging pitches, home runs galore tonight, 3 home runs allowed from Lucas Giolito. Matt Olson's second straight game with a home run. Right after that, Marcell Ozuna. He hung the changeup to Matt Olson there. Ozuna, he hung a slider. Again, stuff wasn't looking bad. He just wasn't locating very well. And then later on, Baldwin hit a homer. It looked foul at first. There was a lot of debate going on. I saw on Twitter land and, people saying there was no way that was a fair ball. But, hey, they reviewed it. and they held it. So and that ended up making it 5-0. Austin Riley had a base hit that added on a 6th run for the Braves. Average exit velo against Giolito tonight was 93.5 miles an hour. That's not going to cut it, ladies and gentlemen. That was not very good night for Lucas Giolito. But luckily, the bullpen came in after him, and they were able to hold it down. Now, let's get to the good stuff here. Let's get to the good stuff, right? Giolito's bad night, it set the table for a memorable night overall. And hey, credit to Grant Holmes tonight with the Braves. He had a pretty good start his last time out, and he kept the momentum going here in Fenway Park, and he was pretty solid. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned. He did walk 4, but struck out 5 along the way. Gave up the home run to Jarren Duran. Jarren Duran, what a night for him. Listen, he is the straw that stirs the drink. When Jarren Duran is on top of his game, I feel like good things happen. He's one of these guys where he's been struggling this year. He's been inconsistent, but when he does do something, I feel like this offense, they go right along with him. Every time he's been able to have, impact on the offensive side of the game, it's usually pretty good. You're seeing mostly extra base hits. When he gets on base, he's running wild. So when Jarren Duran, the bat is alive, it's usually good. But when he's not, there's just nothing going on. It's either all or nothing for Jarren Duran this year, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. But a great night for him overall. 2 for 5, home run, 4 RBIs on the night. Home run in the 3rd inning made it 5-2 at that point. Raffy had the double right after him. We'll talk about Raffy in just a little bit. He had a good night as well. But after that, they weren't able to get anything going. Now, 5th inning, they did have a little something cooking there. Duran ended up getting on thanks to the throwing error. Raffy walked, so you had a couple of guys there, but Bregman, Christian Campbell, not able to come up with anything. But, I felt like at that time, as I was watching, I was trying very hard not to let all of the negative thoughts creep into my head, but I kind of felt, I was like, all right, you know what? They're trying to battle here. They're trying to just make things happen, and it is what it is. But the 5th inning, nothing doing. 6th inning, we're actually going to talk about the defense here. Alex Verdugo. We all love Alex Verdugo, don't we? What was Alex Verdugo doing on the base paths there? The Braves, they actually got something cooking there. But Duran, there was a base hit to left. Verdugo, I saw him rounding 3rd, and I'm thinking, what the heck are you doing? Good thing Duran was nice and alert right there. Strong throw home, accurate throw, and Verdugo was out by a mile. So give it up to Duran on the defensive side of things. And I'm thinking, too, you had Marcell Ozuna up next. So I don't know if that was just a missed call. Was Verdugo trying to be aggressive? I don't know what happened there. But the Red Sox did get a bit of a birthday gift with that. But good for Duran for staying alert out there, making a good throw. And that, honestly, if Verdugo doesn't round 3rd and he stays there, and then you got Ozuna coming up, we could be having a completely different conversation right now. That I felt like was the turning point a bit in the game. Obviously the Red Sox, they've had their ups and downs offensively this year. So I wasn't, fully, on board, with the comeback fully at that point. But I'm thinking like, all right, if there's something that can maybe get a little momentum building here, that was it. 7th inning, you had a rally right after that. Seti with the leadoff double. Raffy RBI base hit. Like I said, good night for him. That made it 6-3. Bregman with the double. That made it 6-4. And you just felt the momentum building at that point. 8th inning. Even Abraham Toro showed up tonight. Abraham Toro doing a couple of things. Who knows how long he's going to be there at first base. Christian Campbell looking like he's going to be the first baseman. He was getting more work today at first base. I think it's going that way, ladies and gentlemen, especially with what happened with Raffy tonight. I'm just saying. But we'll get to that. He had the double. Narv Dog with the base hit. Hamilton pinch ran. He ended up moving up. And then Duran with the clutch base hit. That tied the game. Just a great night for Jarren Duran. That's just a good night for him, because this is a guy, like I've said, he's either just extremely hot or extremely cold. But this is one of those nights where he can really start to build some confidence and start to take a big step forward with his season. The numbers have been down compared to last year. And then the 9th inning, Aroldis Chapman, big shout out to him. Big shout out to the bullpen for holding it down for the most part. I think Chapman coming in, 3 strikeouts to lock it down, did give up a base hit. But that set the stage for Rafael Devers. Walk-off home run. First career walk-off for Rafael Devers. I'm gonna be honest with you. Obviously, a lot of us out there, including myself, have felt the right thing to do is for Rafi to play first base, to step up for the team. Tristan Casas going down. And, because it opens up the designated hitter spot, whether or not that's Roman Anthony getting called up, Masataka Yoshida coming back. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Seeing a walk-off home run tonight, the night that he had 3 for 4. I mean, honestly, Rafi has really settled in over the last month or so. After that bad start, he's really just, looking like the hitter we've all envisioned. And I will say this about Rafi as well. Going into the season, we're we're going into the off season. Honestly, I was thinking to myself, man, if Rafi ends up being the DH one way or another, I'm thinking, man, this is going to be David Ortiz 2.0, because the fact that he won't have to worry about the defense at third base, which has been statistically terrible in his career, I'm thinking, man, if this guy is a DH, I mean, holy cow, we could end up seeing the best offensive season from Rafi in his career. And ever since that bad start, he's been looking phenomenal. And now you add a walk-off on top of that. You got to love it, man. You got to love it. Rafi, obviously, like I said, a lot of the talk lately has been first base. Him stepping up for the team. Obviously, the post-game scrum that he had not too long ago, saying he didn't want to play first base. So, yeah, he was catching a lot of flack for that. And, from everywhere, not just fans, but the national media was talking about it. So, it was not a very good couple of weeks for Rafi, especially on the in the public relations side of things, right? John Henry went to Kansas City to go talk to him, but the bat has looked great. This is one of those moments where you can look at Rafi and say, all right, you know what? You weren't comfortable playing first base. If we have another answer, cool, but let's keep seeing stuff like that. Let's keep seeing these clutch moments from Rafi. And it really brought back memories of David Ortiz, to be completely honest with you. Really did. So I even posted a picture on Twitter, Rafi and David Ortiz. Hey, trust me, Red Sox fans, yes, we want our team to win, but we have been spoiled over the years. I'll say that. And David Ortiz, man, that guy was magic. How many games did I see growing up where David Ortiz had a walk-off? Brought back good memories. So, huge win. You got to love that. And like I said, this was a character building win. This was an identity building win for the Red Sox, or at least hopefully it goes that way. Obviously, they need to go win tomorrow, to get back at 500, right? So they're going to have to, still, you got to get some work done here. And obviously, not just there, you got to keep going after that. Obviously high expectations coming into the year, and to see the Red Sox playing the way they've been playing as of late. Like I said in the intro, people were talking today after Brandon Hyde got fired, saying, hey, Alex Cora, is he next? That's kind of how bad it's been getting lately for Red Sox fans. So this was a win the Red Sox, I feel like, desperately needed. If they had lost this one tonight, I mean, you lose another series after getting swept. I mean, I wouldn't have even gone on Twitter tonight to even see what people had to say. So that was big. Love the comeback. A gritty win. I just wonder, if we look back on this night, is this the night that where the Red Sox, they looked at themselves in the mirror and said, you know what? We are capable of being a good team. We can dig deep. We can make these comebacks. We do have that grit. Let's start seeing more of this. This is what I like to see. Good ABs. Working counts, not striking out left and right, putting the bat on the ball, as easy as that sounds, making good contact, good situational ABs, just doing the little things you got to do to win the game, good to see. Good to see. Before we do get to the last couple of segments tonight, we're going to be talking about Game 3 here in a second, and we do have a little something down in the minor leagues. We all have one eye at AAA right now with the Woo Sox. But before I do move on, we do have another word from a sponsor for tonight.
FT fan, by now, you know if you're buying, selling, trading, collecting cards, Arena Club is the spot. We've been talking about them all season long, but I do want to focus on the slab pack experience, Kratz, since you've been ripping some slab packs digitally. And what happens?
I mean, as a kid, you wanted to rip open the packs. How can they do this digitally? Oh, baby. This is exciting. How the graphics come out and everything. And oh, yeah, the card that you pull, you can actually get that, John, physically. So it's perfect. It's all in one place, and it's a super exciting experience.
Yeah, they send that to you from the vault if you want it. But if you look at it and you're like, it's not the card for me, I want to sell it back, go for it. You can do any of that on Arena Club, and you can acquire the best value for your money with those slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/FAL and use code FAL. arenaclub.com/FAL. Use code FAL.
All righty, let's get to it here. And I see a couple of you talking in the chat. Emma, I see you in the chat. Jaron has been unlucky with his BABIP. I actually took a look at the BABIP a little earlier. He is above league average right now, I believe, at a 329. League average as of right now is a 290. So that kind of ties into what I was saying earlier with Duran, where when he is getting his hits, when he is putting the ball in play, it's usually very good, right? But when he's not putting the ball in play, it's just nothing, you know? So with Duran, it's really all or nothing at this point. So we need to start seeing more consistency, but he's been looking good here the last couple of nights. Now, I also see you in the chat, Red Sox diehard. The crowd deserves its flowers for coming through and sticking around after Giolito's bad start. Absolutely, right? You know, yeah. The fan base is going to help. And you got to think from the Red Sox players' point of view, too, right? So many expectations coming into this year. They've been pressing as of late. It feels like every aspect of this team has been pressing one way or the other, whether it's the offense or the bullpen, who've been blowing games. Giolito tonight, not looking his best, even though the stuff I felt like was there. He's missing his spots. You start to feel that tightness building with this team. And when the fan base is... you can feel him getting grumpy, you know, you can just feel it in the air, especially at Fenway Park. But I do give the fans at Fenway Park a lot of credit tonight. Hey, rooting this team on, man. That's what they need right now. I feel like yes, we are frustrated, and yes, we want to see the W's and we want to see the results. But at the same time, it's like, hey, you know what? Instead of just being like, hey, you guys got to win, you know, it's how about, you know, let's start trying to root them on a little bit, right? You know, got to be behind our team at the end of the day. Yes, we want to see them win, but we need to, you know, and I know people will probably argue against it, but, you know, hey, let's give them a little bit of a nudge. Let's give them a little bit of a push. You know, let's start, you know, really rooting for these guys, man. I know it's very easy to get upset with this team, you know, especially how it's been the last few years. And, you know, obviously the expectations coming into the year and not getting the W's, right? I understand that, but at the same time, and I know it's hard to stay positive, but really try to root this team on, man, especially when you're at Fenway Park. These guys could use it, you know, and I'm glad they came through tonight. It was such a great win. I love that win. Honestly, going back over the last 20, 25 years or so, it's probably one of my favorite wins, to be honest with you. It's on Fox tonight on the national stage. You get the walk-off like that. Just a feel-good win. Honestly, one of my favorites over the last several years. So let's go to game 3 here. Let's go to game 3. And listen, hey, they still got to go win a series. Still got to win a series here. But you got a tough matchup. Spencer Schwellenbach going for the Braves. He's been very good here over the last couple of years. Young righty. He's been looking great. 3.31 ERA so far in the year, 46 Ks. He's got a lot of different pitches that he likes to throw. Let's pull up the numbers with him, overall numbers. Like I said, ERA at a 3.31. FIP is at a 3.57 so far. right under 8 strikeouts per 9, but where he's been very good is the command. He's going to throw a lot of strikes, under 2 walks per 9 so far in the year, right around a home run per 9 this year. He's seeing a little bit of a bump in velo as well. Now, with Schwellenbach, he's going to have a lot of different pitches. He's got a fastball, slider. He's got a sinker he plays with. He's got a changeup. He's got a cutter. And then he's got a curveball as well. He's going to throw a lot of different pitches. This is not going to be an easy matchup for the Red Sox tomorrow. And Brian Bayo, I think this is a big start for him. To me, I was talking about this not too long ago with a buddy of mine. And, I feel like for so long, Brian Bayo, he's been getting these comparisons to Pedro Martinez. And I think that it was an unfair comparison, right? Both coming out of the Dominican Republic. You see similarities with the windup. Both have good stuff. But with Brian Bayo, he hasn't been able to really find that next gear consistently ever since coming up to the Red Sox not too long ago. And so far this year, sure, he's keeping the runs down, but I am a smidge worried about Bayo as of right now. Sure, the ERA is at a 2.33, as you can see here on the screen, but the FIP is at a 5.55. Why is that? Because he's walking a good amount of batters, and he's given up a few home runs so far on the year through 27 innings. So he's only got 5.6 walks per 9. We need to start seeing that stuff start to blossom a little bit more. It's there, but it's, hitting his spots. It's attacking the zone, throwing strikes. That tends to be the thing that really bites Bayo in the butt. He just falls behind on hitters. So hopefully this is a start where he can really dial it in. The last couple of starts, he hasn't really been able to go deep into the games. And if we go take a look here, he hasn't been able to get through 5 innings the last couple of starts against the Tigers and the Rangers. Granted, going up against some good bats with both of those teams, but we'd like to see him really just try to push through a little bit. Against Minnesota and Cleveland, he was looking pretty solid for the most part, but you do want to see a bit more out of Bayo. This is going to be a tough matchup with Schwellenbach tomorrow. And when it comes to the experience against Schwellenbach, not too much overall. Rafi does have a home run against him. I'm just saying, it's pretty nice, especially after the walk-off tonight. So he's had success against him in his career. It's only 2 ABs, but it's something. Jaron Duran, he's got a base hit against him. I believe it was an opposite, or sorry, not opposite. That was I believe that was a double. That was last year at some point. Extra base hit, whatever it was. Hamilton, let's see. Does he get into the lineup tomorrow? He got in there tonight, but I don't know. We'll see. Rafael, a couple of ABs. Ref Snyder. So, Ref Snyder, probably not going to see him. But now against Bayo, we got a lot of guys that have seen him from last year, right? Let me take a look here. Michael Harris, he's had success against him. Albies has a home run against him. Verdugo has a home run against him. So, just saying. But this is not going to be an easy matchup. To me, yes, tonight was a feel-good win, but I really want them to close the deal tomorrow. Obviously, I want them to win. Obviously, of course, But I think being able to close the deal on a Braves team that's been playing pretty well as of late. Yes, they got off to the bad start this year, but this is a talented team that they've gotten themselves together over the last few weeks here. This would be tonight was a feel-good win. If they could pull it off tomorrow, that's going to be a feel-good series win. So definitely going to be paying attention to this one tomorrow, obviously, but they got to find a way to close this out. You can't fall back even further, right? I hate that the Red Sox are constantly floating around 500, but it is what it is. Now, we do have one more thing to talk about before the end of the show tonight, and we got a little something from the Woo Sox. All eyes are on Marcelo Meyer as of right now. All right, Christian Campbell, like we've talked about, he's getting reps at first base. Saw some action there pregame today. We'll see how that goes, but that feels like the direction the Red Sox are going in. Marcelo Meyer, he continues to hit down at AAA, along with Roman Anthony. These guys just keep on hitting. Roman Anthony hitting .317, .932 OPS on the year. And then Marcelo Meyer, a couple of more hits for him tonight. RBI tonight. hitting 273, 819 OPS overall. So honestly, if I'm going to, maybe make a prediction here, a little bit of a prediction, I feel like maybe June 1st, somewhere around there, mid-June. I wonder how long the Red Sox wait. It really comes down to how's Campbell going to be looking at first base. That's really what it's going to come down to. He's going to get some more pregame action here over the next week or so. And I wonder if they throw him into a game at some point next week, or at least in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. So we'll see how that goes. And if things go smoothly, I would expect Marcelo Meyer to get the call by June 1st. I mean, if we were to take a look here at the schedule, they do have a day off on the 29th. So, that's less than 2 weeks away before we go up against the Braves in Atlanta. Could they call up Marcelo Meyer before that series? Their next day off would be June 5th before they go face the Yankees for the first time on the year in the Bronx. Could that be it? I think it's either going to be the 29th or the 5th that we'll see Marcelo Meyer. Maybe the 12th. I think it's going to be one of those days off, honestly. But everybody, I am out of here for the night. Thank you so much for joining me for the post-game show. This is a great win. We'll be back here tomorrow for the series finale. Let's see if the Red Sox can close it out. Go have yourself a good night, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.